Pop quiz. What's the traditional route to creating wealth? There is no traditional route. Today's guest built her empire creating quizzes.
I worked there for about a year, and that's where I discovered the power of quizzes. So I created a quiz for that company. They got 10,000 new leads in a month with a $500 ad spend, and I knew that I was onto something.
Now, before we hop into today's show, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's jump into the video.
Yo, so Chanti, so you went from no degree to building a six-figure business to now, today, you have a seven-figure business. I want to start from the very beginning. How did that happen? What were the things that you put into place that took you from, average income to upper middle class income to now you're in the 1% of making building $1 million business? What was that for you?
Yeah, I was making $15 an hour, cooking breakfasts.
Wow.
And making coffees, and I got pregnant. And what a motivating force children are.
That'll do it every time, right? You have a baby on the way. I need to make some more money. I hear you on that.
Yes, and I was just a baby myself. I was 22 years old when I got pregnant, and I had no idea what I was doing with my life. I love to cook, and I still do, and I discovered there was a way to make money online by just sharing recipes and writing, two things I loved.
And how much money did you make with that?
Not much at all.
Okay.
So I was really inspired by this food blog that would post their income reports. I love anyone who posts income reports and is transparent about the real potential out there. And they were making at the time like 30 grand a month from their food blog. So I was like, let's go. I can do this. I got a loan, I got a camera, I got a laptop, and I got started.
Wow.
I had no idea what I was doing. I thought that I would make all this money, and that didn't happen. It's really difficult to make a decent income from a blog. You need so much traffic because your revenue source is ads. So as I figured things out, people started approaching me asking if they could hire me to write articles for them, recipes for them. And then I discovered a path to making this profitable, because at the time I was on maternity leave, and this looming deadline of like, am I going to have to go back to work and live this chef life again, was hovering over me. So I started writing for other people. I would make maybe $50 for a 2,000 word article that had like 50 citations. It would take me hours. And yet I was so elated because there was this door that opened that I never knew existed before. So pretty soon after I started writing for other people, I discovered copywriting, which is a whole other universe compared to content, because copywriting is all about using words to inspire action. Yeah. And that is much more highly valued than just putting out an article about coconut oil. So I dug into that. I got a mentor. I really invested in myself, and I continued to have a side hustle. I would work nights in a restaurant, and during the day I would build my business.
Wow.
So yeah,
Here
but it was hard those first few years.
And one of the businesses you have now is you help people format their own quiz, or you write quizzes for people. And you've worked with some big names. One of them, to be an example, I first heard about you through Amy Porterfield on her podcast. And I remember texting Amy, and I said, Amy, yo, is Chanti the truth? She was like, she is the truth. And I was like, yo, good looking sis, thank you so much. And then I reached out to you, and you've built one quiz for me that, has probably since then has brought us over about 15,000 new people into our email list. And then now we're working on 2 others. Where did your love for the quiz game and teaching people the quiz game come into place? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, because it's a big jump from just copywriting to this really unique niche.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was freelancing. I thought I had a niche, but it was just health and wellness, which is very broad. And I really struggled with that revenue roller coaster of some months, everything was gravy, and other months, like, we can't pay the bills. Wow. And I was sort of perusing Facebook one day. I saw this job listing that this spiritual development company was looking for a full-time copywriter. And by then I was just tired of the freelancing game. So I went for it. I talked my way into that job. They wanted a bachelor of something. I was like, come on, give me a chance. And they did. So I worked there for about a year. And that's where I discovered the power of quizzes. So I created a quiz for that company, and it was the most successful list builder they had ever used. They got 10,000 new leads in a month with a $500 ad spend. And I knew that I was onto something. Like, something's really working here.
So let's talk about that, because help us understand the power of quizzes, right? Because you're the quiz expert. Help us understand the power of quizzes. People who are, we're teaching people how to build a personal brand. And you're helping me out with creating a quiz for that to help people understand what kind of personal brand and the direction they should go. But why do you think starting a quiz, well, I'm gonna put it like this. Is making a quiz, is it going to be profitable, or is it solely just creating a quiz to build your email list? Like, what are you seeing in your field from the profitability of having a quiz and the importance of actually incorporating a quiz within your brand, within your business?
Well, I think to answer that question, we first have to start with, why is email so important? Why is building a list of subscribers so valuable?
Yeah.
And, it's a beautiful thing if you can get your YouTube following up or grow your social media followers, but the algorithm changes one day and everything could change.
Yeah.
So your whole business foundation is on the line if something happens with those platforms where your audience is essentially rented. Whereas with an email list, you own your email list. You can change platforms, you can change businesses if you want. And yet you still have this asset that, if you steward it correctly, appreciates with time. And the inbox is the inbox is distracting, but it's a whole lot less distracting than a feed with all sorts of flashy, shiny objects and people and ideas. It takes a lot to stop someone in their tracks and compel them to take action, and specifically to make sales on social media, on YouTube, like, much more difficult than in someone's inbox, which arguably is the most intimate space there is in our virtual real estate.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree with that. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that doesn't sound that sexy. Like, it sounds way cooler to say I have 1.2 million followers on Instagram than it does to be like investing in your email list. But from my experience with clients, with students, that's where the money is made, is in the inbox. So you're generating trust and you're building connection with your audience on these other platforms. But then they're over in your email. And when you say, hey, I've got this incredible new workshop, service, course, membership, product, whatever it is, you've got their attention and they're much more likely to follow through and take action on that invitation.
Yo, real quick, you guys, are you looking to change your career here in the year 2023? If so, look no further than Bethel School of Technology, the only Christian online tech boot camp in the world. According to a recent report, Black people make up just about 4% of the U.S. technology workforce. But you see, at Bethel Tech, who I've partnered with for this year, they believe that all people, including us Black people, should have access to the lucrative and fulfilling opportunities in the tech industry. Now, with their 9-month program, you'll gain the essential skills you need to start a successful career in technology. And let's not forget the earning potential. You see, according to Indeed, the average salary of a software developer in the US is around $103,000. Say what? You know, you can choose from programs like the cybersecurity and UI UX design and launch your tech career or even a tech business ignited with passion and purpose. So listen, we're going to skip the debt and we're going to invest into yourself for just 9 months that can change the next 9 years of your life. All you got to do is join Bethel Tech today to achieve your career aspirations. Visit anthonyoneal.com/Bethel or click the link in today's show notes today so you can register and start a new journey of your life. Now, you know what? Let's get back to the show because this is a good one today. Let's keep it a buck. Listen, I totally agree with that. We didn't have an email list a year ago, and Amy was on my show. And in the middle of my show, she said, Anthony, well, how big is your email list? I said, I don't have one. She was like, excuse me? Like, she literally said in the middle of my show, what's wrong with you? She was like, Anthony, do you understand that when Instagram shut down for those 2 days, she said, I accidentally sent out one email and I made $18,000 in 1 day when everyone else was stressed about Instagram being gone and shut down. And I'm over here making money because I own my list. And she was like, you need to literally get you an email list started ASAP. And she gifted me her course that day. And she was like, you need to learn. And I went out there, hired me a contractor to help me out with writing content. And then I think like 2 months later, I booked you to help me out with the quiz. So you're absolutely right about the importance of building an email list. It's sexy to say you got 1.2 million subscribers, but who's actually really, really deep with you? And some of these people who have 1.2 million or even 500,000 or even 100,000 followers, they do not have an email list that can produce income for them. And our email list is now over 50,000, and it produces us money every time we send something out. So I'm grateful for that. I'm curious, Chanti, with you being a personal brand, now you actually offer a quiz teaching people how to, not a quiz, you have a course teaching people how to build quizzes. And we're going to link that in today's show notes, you guys, so that way you can check it out, because it's definitely one of the best courses out there to really build quizzes. And I have to say, this woman knows what she's doing. She built our singles playlist. What's it called? Our singles playbook quiz. Yeah, the singles playbook quiz. And it's not just your typical quiz. You're not just going on the quiz builder and building this 5 questions thing. Like, no, it literally took her and her team, I want to say about 4 months to really build the quiz and to really do the research and to make sure that we're giving several different results that fits that quiz answer. And I mean, our quiz result page, each result is about 40 pages long. And one thing I love about Chanti and what she's been able to do is she taught me the importance of putting time, research, and quality into building a quiz. And she teaches all of this inside of her course of how you could do it on your own. And I have several friends who are taking her quiz right now and building amazing quizzes. But Chanti, we're a money show, and I want to ask you, with you starting your own brand now, I'm curious, what has been your best month within your personal brand?
I've had 1 month that was over $100,000, which was thanks to launching my course.
Wow.
And that was in 2020.
Wow.
I did my first ever big launch, which I learned how to do from Amy. Amy. I was like so terrified that this was going to flop, that it wasn't going to work. I'd invested in the ads. I put out like the free training, and that was about $160,000 launch, which, because of, payment plans, wasn't all at once, but in combination with agency revenue, which is like hovering at about like 40,000-50,000 a month, that was money. So that was my best ever month. I'd love more of those universe. But and also, if anyone's listening that's like, all right, but I don't have these huge numbers, I'm just getting started, I don't have any email list, and I barely have any social followers, I want to just tell you a story right away, because
Talk to us.
My first ever launch of this course that I created, I had about 800 people on my email list.
Wait. Pause. Okay, you had 800 people on your email list.
Yeah.
How many followers did you have on Instagram?
None. I don't think I had Instagram at the time.
Okay, wait.
I was late for the
email
Instagram
list.
party.
0 on Instagram. How many did you have on YouTube?
0.
Okay, wait. How many did you have on Twitter? You got a Twitter.
I had maybe some followers from my food blogging days, but I haven't used Twitter in probably 7 years.
Okay, you had to have a blog then. You had a blog then, right? You had a blog channel.
So how I built that email list to 800 people is I actually would go on podcasts. So that's my secret. And I had a lead magnet, right? Like, I had a quiz of my own to say on a podcast, come take my quiz. And then that's the easiest way for people to get onto your list, because it's irresistible. It's personalized, it's interactive, it's super quick. Like, it's an easy yes compared to come sit down for an hour and watch my training. Like, that's a much heavier lift for people. So I'd promote the quiz on people's podcasts, and I did a few guest blogs on other people's blogs, because I had no traffic. I had no platform. Okay. Right? So if you're in that position, borrowing someone else's audience that's in a similar, complementary industry or niche to you is so powerful. So that's what I did. I at the time hardly used social media. I was so busy supporting clients that I was just the cobbler's daughter. I was not doing any of those things for myself, aside from having my own quiz and developing this course. And the beta version of that course, I launched it to these 800 people, and I made about $16,000 from that list of 800 people.
You made $16,000 with no huge following, but you had a strategy and you had a quiz. Exactly. And then when you launched it again, I'm curious, did your numbers go up? Were they the same? Like, what was this? What? Okay. Wait, hold on. You said, how much was your second launch? The second launch, I think that one was around 50,000. And how many followers did you have then? Did your email list go up then? Yeah, by that point, I had a few thousand people on my email list. Okay, cool. And then what about Instagram? Just kept growing. The more my email list grew, the more money I made. Come on. But this was all pretty much without a regular presence on social media. I'm loving this. I still hardly post on social media. I know. I follow you, and I'm like, Chanti ain't posted like in 2 months. What is she doing? I mean, you're over there working. You work it, and you get paid very well today for what you do. But it's like I love how you called that out in the show, because we just launched our Impact Creative Society with your help. And we're teaching people how to build, a 6-figure brand from scratch. And it's encouraging for people to hear this. Like, yo, wait, I can make $16,000 or $50,000 and I don't have a huge following. Yes, you can. But if you listen to Chanti, what did she say? She said, hey, you still got to have a strategy in place, though. There still needs to be a strategy to get to that number. You just can't launch something and then you're not launching it to anyone. And it's so funny, still to this day, right? I don't know if you feel comfortable saying this. If you don't, it's totally cool. But are you comfortable saying what do you average a month without saying the exact numbers, but what do you average a month?
Yeah, average a month is like between 50 and 80,000, depending on when I'm launching. And if I've got something on Evergreen, which also, like I had my course, I was live launching it. I got pregnant. This was, I think, the third time. I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And my third baby, I was like, all right, I need to self-fund my own maternity leave. How am I going to do this? So I put the course on Evergreen, and that was around like a $10,000 revenue boost every single month. This thing's just running on autopilot in the background, and I'm chilling with my new baby.
Studies are showing nearly right now, currently in the year 2023, that nearly 70% of people live in paycheck to paycheck. When you dive deeper into the study reveals that out of that 70%, a large portion of those are people who make over 6 figures. These are people who are living paycheck to paycheck because of inflation, because of job loss. But a lot of people saying, man, we have an income problem. And here's the truth. We don't really have an income problem. We have a lack of utilizing our gifts and skills problem. You have the skills, you have the talents that God put on the inside of you. And I want to ask you this question. I want to be very honest. Are you utilizing them correctly? Or are you just going to work, getting that check, coming home, and not really utilizing your gifts and skills to build wealth, to pay off debt? Well, listen, I am hosting a 100% free masterclass here with the next few days, and I'm teaching people how to build a personal brand, how to use the gifts and the skills that God put on the inside of you and turn that into an extra $1,000 to $5,000 a month to go towards paying off debt, to go towards, building an emergency fund, to go towards building your dream home. But I'm going to go even a step further. What if you can use the same principles I'm going to be teaching for free? You make an extra $1,000 to $5,000, but what happens if you could turn it into a 6-figure income or maybe a 7-figure income within the next couple of years? Well, if you are ready to take control of your money, if you're ready to utilize the gifts and the skills God has given you to build a legacy, to build wealth for yourself, can you meet me? I want you to go to anthonyoneal.com/save my seat. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/save my seat. Or you can click the link in today's show notes. It's 100% free. Come join me. Let me show you how my team and I, built a 7-figure brand and how we can put $1,000 in your pocket for the next 30 to 60 days. I'll see you soon. We got about like 10 more minutes on this show because oh my gosh, I wish we had an hour show. I think for me, I want to ask you this to help people understand, where should they start? If they're wanting to build a personal brand like yourself, if they're wanting to get into the quiz business, because think about it. You're helping people write quizzes, and you're making on average 50 to 80 grand a month. Best month has been over $100,000. You've literally built $1 million business. But someone is like you, and you're encouraging them right now. Like, hey, I don't have a huge following. I'm really not on Instagram. I definitely don't do TikTok. I mean, I got a little bit of people on Twitter and LinkedIn. Where should they start building their business? What would you say they should do to really get out there and start it?
I mean, what worked so beautifully for me was that leveraging of other people's audiences. So I would just pitch my story to podcasts in the space that had a way bigger audience than I could even fathom.
Yeah.
And that worked so well. I mean, you gotta put in the effort and make that pitch really solid so that it's an easy yes for the person on the other side. But that was so powerful. But when you do that, you do need to have something in place to capture the emails of anyone who's listening to those podcasts or reading your guest blogs. or watching your joint IG live, you got to have something for those who are interested to go deeper. And so that's where building out a quiz or another type of lead magnet to attract people onto your email list. And then you gotta stay connected with them. You can't ghost them. And to be totally transparent, when I had that 800 person email list, I was ghosting them. I wouldn't email them for months. I was so busy on the client side. And so it's shocking that that launch actually worked. But what would have been so much better is if every week I had sat down and written one email to those people who had said, yes, I'm interested, and just continued to build and deepen those relationships. Because that's where the magic happens. It's not so much the vanity metric of, oh, I have this quiz and I have X number of people on my email list. It's the relationships that you're able to build through having this resource that invited people into your world. And now you've got an open door to connect with them, to teach them more, to show up and provide value. And that is a habit that will serve you for the rest of the life of your business.
Yeah.
If you can build that email list, connect with that email list, and look at that as your most important metric. So often newer creators, newer personal brands are so obsessed with growing their social following, with growing their YouTube. And it's like, all right, but is there a clear path to ROI? I've never posted on Instagram and made $16,000 from a few posts.
Come on, talk to him. I gotta ask you a question, because you said something that's so key there. Because you're right. I've never posted something to Instagram and made $10,000, right? I think now there are strategies that are putting into place, like we got mini chats and like these auto bots that are creating that engagement, right? That is now doing it, but you're not getting it from just simply posting. You are getting it from the engagement. What do you think is the strategy though? Like you're saying, okay, cool. Don't worry about posting and building such a huge audience. But I'm curious. You just said something like, hey, what is the process that people are going to go through? Do you have like a suggested process that you think people should go through when they are a part of your brand? Prime example, you've helped Amy Porterfield launch several things, right? Do you have a system that you're always, okay, we got to make sure that we accomplish this, that, and this, and anything that we do and anything that we launch? Do you have something like that we should even take note of?
Yeah. Oh, I have a few things like that, and it depends on the circumstance. Because while like I'm creating quizzes for people, I'm also helping people on the actual revenue generation side of launching their offers and promoting their stuff. And so there's this framework that I talk about of attraction, connection, conversion.
Okay. Attraction, attract them. Then you connect, then you convert. Yeah.
You can't have conversion without connection. So how do you, like the question is then, how do you create connection at scale? It's really easy for you and I to sit here chatting one-on-one and we can feel that connection. It's much more difficult to connect with people who have never been in your energy field. They've never hung out with you IRL. There's this culture in the online world that people sometimes think personal brands and the people behind them aren't actually people. Like we see it in the crazy comments that are all over the internet. And so you have to get beyond that barrier. And in order to do that, I think you need just a certain level of understanding around, well, what are the fundamentals of attraction and connection? Yeah. So the biggest one to me is empathy, is understanding the experience that your ideal client or customer is having. It's having been able to like walk hopefully many miles in their shoes and really get where they're at. And I think with personal branding, with anyone who's launching courses, memberships, coaching programs, so often the advice given is like, talk to yourself 5 years ago. And I think the reason for that is because if you can really like look back, okay, what was I feeling 5 years ago? Where was I at? What was I terrified of? What was going on in my head that I wouldn't dare say out loud? What did I want more than anything? And if you can get clear on what those things are for your audience and like speak to the elephant in the room, right? Then you're winning.
Attraction. How would you suggest people attract people when they don't even know anything about marketing? You know, I think that's a good question, because even me, sometimes I in the beginning I was like, how do I attract this kind of person to be attracted to watch my workshop, my webinar, my whatever? You know, like how do we help people attract? We got the connection part down, but any tips on how we can help them attract?
Yeah, you know, I think it's often taking yourself out of the equation. So like, forget about like, oh, I want to build this business because I want to get out of debt and I'm tired of my 9 to 5. And like, there's a lot of just self-focus, especially in the beginning, because of course there is, right? Like you want change and it feels like it's all about you, but it can't be all about you in marketing and in attraction. It has to be about the other person. So you have to be answering this question that your potential viewer, reader, listener, client, customer is always asking, which is, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
Because everyone's favorite topic is themselves.
Yeah.
And that's why quizzes work so well. Because if you can give someone tools, insights, inspiration, ideas, strategies that will help them improve their life in some capacity, and that is the focus, it's that simple. Like, you don't need a marketing degree to do that.
You really don't. You really don't. Now, everybody's building a personal brand because they want to make money, but making money means you need to convert once they come in. Are there any tips, simple tips on how we can convert people to look into our products, to purchase our products? Once we attract them in, we connect with them. But I've learned, even recently, I've learned from you, I've learned from Amy, I've learned from my boy Jamal Miller, I've learned from some other people that is in my circle. Converting is hard. And it takes knowledge and it takes a certain skill set to convert the right way. Like, you can lie to people, mislead people to get them to buy, but then you have a huge refund issue. You got a huge fraud stuff. And it's like, what I'm learning is, man, you want to learn how to convert the right person that will stick with you for the long term and buy other stuff from you. So any tips around how we can convert people into purchasing our products or buying one of our services?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, conversion starts in the attraction phase. I think that's worth saying. So often people will be in this attraction phase and they'll think like, what's the thing I can put out there? Let's say it's a quiz. What's the quiz I can put out there that's going to get the most number of quiz takers? And like, go ahead and create a quiz on which White Lotus character are you? Beautiful. If you're selling a membership on how to get fit, that's not gonna fly. You're gonna have an email list with hundreds of thousands, millions of people who will never buy your product.
Right.
So you have to engineer from the very beginning, who do I want to serve? And what language are they speaking? Like, you gotta get on their level and be really clear on that. So that's the number one. But when you get to that conversion stage, what I like to look at is this concept of the belief bridge.
Okay.
And the belief bridge is essentially like, let's pretend you're on one side of the river with your amazing product and your potential customers on the other side of the river. And, you know, maybe they see this reality far off in the distance that's available to them, but they don't know how to cross that river. There are certain things your ideal customer needs to believe in order to take action. No one takes action without belief. So if they don't believe, and I encourage my students always to make a huge list and just brain dump all the things your audience needs to believe. And I say believe because that's an emotional word. Belief isn't always rooted in fact or science or evidence, right? Like, belief is an emotional thing, but purchasing decisions most of the time are an emotional thing. So what do they need to believe? They need to believe that you're legit. They need to believe that your solution is unique. They need to believe that it's different from everything else they've tried. They need to believe that this is possible for them. They need to believe that they can do it. And it's your job as the architect to build that bridge across the river. And you do that in your sales messaging. So you address every single one of those things that they might not yet believe. You address those things. You address the belief that you're legit, you know what you're doing. You include social proof. You include success stories. You have case studies. You address the belief that your product is legit, different, and going to help them.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You go deep into it. And so by doing those things, you are much more likely to engineer conversions at the end of that cycle.
Ladies and gentlemen, she just taught us how to make some money. That's what I'm talking about. And that's why I asked you during our meeting if you can come on our show, because I think a lot of my community, they need to be educated on different ways to build a list and how to attract, connect, and convert people to purchase their services or products. And even to what I've learned, even within the quiz space, it's not always about even getting a list or even getting subscribers. We're building one right now just to serve my people, just to get them deeper into my content and help them out at different stages of their life. And so, y'all, we're going to drop her information in today's show notes. I want you all to go check her out. Go check out her course. Do you have any webinars where you teach any of this right now, Chanti? I know you did one a couple of weeks ago, but do you have any coming up that we can promote and have people come and learn some more information?
I don't have any live ones, but I do have a free course, a free video course on how to create your first quiz.
Okay.
So yeah, we can hook that up.
We're going to put that in the show notes, you guys. And here's why. I really want to start exposing you all to different things and different things that has helped me generate income, build a consistent community. And I'm being exposed to different things. And when I was exposed to this queen right here, man, I mean, it's been amazing. She's thorough. She is sharp. She is an expert. Her and her team are very professional. And so anything that you all invest into with her and to learn with her, I promise you, you are going to enjoy it. And it's going to change your business life and your personal brand. And so we're going to drop that free quiz, the free course in today's show notes. Check it out and skip the free. Skip the free. Well, watch the free, but go purchase the course so you can have a quiz that can build your brand, your personal brand. Chanti, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate you. Now we need to get off of here and go build some quizzes together.
Yeah, let's do it. Thanks so much for having me, Anthony.
Hey, no problem at all. Hey, you guys, thank you all so much. And we'll see you on the next show.